Welcome everybody to another nostalgic Chronik Spartan Christmas video game review. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, kick off your shoes and relax your socks because this year we're taking a look at the fantastic 007 Agent Under Fire. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Now, as many of you who already watch the channel probably know, I have a huge association of stealth games with Christmas time. It's got something to do with the prominence of snow and winter in stealth games, like in Metal Gear Solid, and in many movies as well, when the focus is on areas like the Red Square in Moscow during Christmas time. Snow, winter, and therefore Christmas time have always gone hand in hand with me enjoying stealth movies and video games. But my association goes even deeper than that. You see, when I was younger, every single year at Christmas time, there would always be a stealth game I would ask for that my mum would get me. Stealth games back in the late 90s and early 2000s were really popular, and that meant almost every single year there was another new stealth game for me to look out for. Now this year we're jumping back to 2001 when the stealth game I was looking forward to was 007 Agent Under Fire. Now you see, up until this point, I'd always been a huge 007 fan, and all I ever heard about in the video game world was GoldenEye on the N64. But I never had an N64, and none of my friends did either, and I could never persuade my mum to buy me an N64 just so I could play one video game. So for years, I always craved a really good, solid 007 video game experience. Now I did have some enjoyment on the PlayStation 1 with The World Is Not Enough and Tomorrow Never Dies, but none of them felt like they stood up against the powerhouse, the amazing video game that was GoldenEye. However, as the PlayStation 2 came out and all the magazines started talking about PlayStation 2 games and upcoming PlayStation 2 games as well, one game in particular caught my eye, and one single screenshot in fact, and it was a screenshot of an upcoming 007 video game for the PlayStation 2. At the time, I'm not even sure if the name of the game was secured yet, but all it was this screenshot of what looked like, at the time, I wasn't sure what the environment was, but it looked like it was some kind of nuclear silo or some submarine. It was definitely something that screamed stealth to me, and it was something that had that 007 style that we know and love. So straight away, my excitement was through the roof. Not only was I excited to finally have a 007 video game that could hopefully stand toe-to-toe with GoldenEye, but I was equally, and if not more, excited to experience this video game on the next generation of hardware, the PlayStation 2. So that year, in 2001, I asked my mum, I begged my mum for 007 Agent Under Fire for Christmas. And she did not disappoint. You see, as I mentioned in last year's Chronik Spartan Christmas game review, me and my family had a tradition of opening one single present on Christmas Eve when the clock struck 12, so technically it became Christmas Day. And for me, I always gravitated straight towards that present that was shaped like a video game. And that night, I ripped open my present and there it was, Agent Under Fire. And I was absolutely psyched. We all gave hugs, I wished everyone a Merry Christmas, said I'd see them in the morning, and I ran upstairs to put Agent Under Fire into my PlayStation 2 and get stuck in to this next generation 007 video game experience. And I was not disappointed. Straight away you jumped into the video game and you heard that iconic 007 theme. And straight away you jumped into your first mission, where you had to infiltrate a water base. Straight away, the graphics and the visuals just looked gorgeous to me. The whole sunset vibe and the nice gold colours that matched the base as well just really gave me this warm, fuzzy feeling. You got told of your mission where you had to help recover a CIA agent that had been trapped or caught on their mission. And then Q introduces you to some of your gadgets and tells you there are two ways to infiltrate this base. Go in and hack the main door, or you can zip line up to the top and sneak in through the roof. Straight away, the first thing I did was I got my Q claw out and I zipped up to the top. And instantly, I just had this wonderful feeling of stealth and immersion. I was absolutely in my element and I knew I was gonna love this video game. As you progress through that first mission and you infiltrate the base, you had two options. You could go completely stealth or you could go in guns blazing. And both of them felt really well balanced. Both of them felt as enjoyable to do as the other. One of my favorite things about it was all the 007 moments you could trigger, like shooting a crane that would drop a big load of pallets on top of the bad guys, or being able to shoot a few barrels that would end up with a chain reaction and taking out about 10-15 guys in one go. As you got to the end of that level and saved the CIA operative who happened to be tied to a submarine of all things, you completed the mission and it ended in true 007 style. Everything about this game screamed 007, and it just gave me that amazing stealth feeling I'd been craving for so long. Straight after the first mission, you then jump onto the next mission, which is an immediate follow-on, where it's an on-rail shooter moment. Your partner is driving and you are shooting out the back of your car. There's all these timed events of bad guys coming up or driving up next to you, or helicopters trying to shoot you, and the action never stops as there's explosions going on around you as you race through the streets of Hong Kong. You see, I wasn't always the biggest fan of on-rail shooter levels, but the 007 on-rail shooter levels, especially in Agent Under Fire, just felt like a natural part of the story progression, and were a really nice way to balance out the previous level, especially if you'd gone through the stealth route. First level you go in quietly, second level you are just blasting everything you can see, and it's a nice kind of let loose moment. Once you complete that mission, you're then on to the next mission, which is racing through the streets of Hong Kong. You take over your Z8 BMW and you've got to drive around chasing down the vials in a semi-open world environment. Now once again, racing game levels, especially in first-person shooter games, didn't always excite me, but these levels were really enjoyable. They took me back to the Spy Hunter game on the PlayStation 2, which I really enjoyed. And also the slightly open world nature of it, although the environment and the map would not be classed as big by any standards, it gave you the option of taking any route towards your objective that you wanted. And it gave you a sense of freedom that I didn't really expect in the game, considering it's a racing level in a first-person shooter. Anyway, your car is equipped with all the cute gadgets you could imagine: smoke screens, missiles, rockets, the lot. And as you blast through the streets of Hong Kong, taking shortcuts and jumps, it was an absolute pleasure. As 007 Agent Under Fire continues, it takes you globetrotting throughout the world in true Bond fashion, visiting Hong Kong, Romania, Switzerland, the South China Sea and the Mediterranean Sea as well. But something I really truly loved about this video game were all the head nods to the previous 007 movies. You see, this game is a standalone story in Agent Under Fire. It's not from any other movie, it's just a story for the video game, and it works really well. And what that enabled them was to have the freedom to take moments from previous movies and integrate them into the story of the video game. Levels, for example, like driving a tank through Romania, obviously a massive head nod reference to the movie GoldenEye, and also levels as well where you get a Q-Jet where you can jetpack around, enabling you to complete your mission in true James Bond fashion. And as much as I love the story mode in Agent Under Fire, and I've played it loads of times, with the most recent being last Christmas with my son, the true beauty in Agent Under Fire and the true nostalgia for me is in the multiplayer. Because like in last year's Christmas review of Nightfire, Agent Under Fire is a game that I enjoyed and played with my sister and brother-in-law on Christmas Day. Agent Under Fire, being the first PlayStation 2 James Bond game, was the first video game that my sister and brother-in-law played with me on Christmas Day. One of the most nostalgic memories for me ever was bringing down my small CRT TV from my bedroom, hooking up the PlayStation 2 with the multi-tap, and handing a controller to my sister and brother-in-law as we jumped into the multiplayer. At first, I wasn't really sure if my sister would enjoy it. My brother-in-law had loved playing GoldenEye on the N64, so he knew what was coming, but I wasn't really sure if my sister would be that into it. And she was absolutely hooked. She was getting giddy trying to shoot us and trying to trick us in every single level. I was amazed at how much fun we were all having. It was truly one of those amazing moments you could not predict or plan. And the thing that I think made the multiplayer so amazing in Agent Under Fire, and for me personally, I think it's a better multiplayer than Nightfire, is because of the gadgets. Gadgets in Agent Under Fire multiplayer are just absolutely fantastic. My favorite being the Q-Claw, because the Q-Claw in multiplayer enables you a freedom that you didn't necessarily experience in the story mode. You see, in story mode, when you're using the Q-Claw, you've got to fire it at certain designated targets. However, in multiplayer mode, you can shoot it absolutely anywhere onto any surface and you will zip up into there. And if you keep hold of the button, you will just hang there, which made for the most amazing moments of stealth where you're waiting as your unsuspecting rival comes walking through a corridor or wherever they may be, and you're just hanging up there with your Walther PPK ready to shoot away. The gadgets in Agent Under Fire really worked for stealth in a multiplayer game, and stealth in a multiplayer game isn't something I often come across. Most of the time stealth in multiplayer comes across as camping or with sniper rifles, whereas in Agent Under Fire it was a true solid part of the experience. Another fantastic gadget is the ability to make yourself invisible, and sneaking up on somebody, especially if they were disciplined enough to not stare at your screen, which we know everyone did. But sneaking up on somebody while you were invisible just gave such an adrenaline rush and just so much fun and excitement. And that is what made the Agent Under Fire multiplayer experience one of my favorite multiplayer experiences of all time. To this day, I still play Agent Under Fire in story mode and multiplayer. And more recently, one of the multiplayer experiences that I've really enjoyed with my son is when we're playing through the assassin and bodyguard levels. You see, there's one level in particular that we love playing where you're in a train station and you're on either side of the tracks, and one of you has to protect a character that is coming from the train and the other one has to try and shoot them, and that makes for so much fun. Not only in the fact of trying to protect the character or trying to shoot them, but also in the level design of the train itself. It's set up perfectly to enable a wonderful opportunity for a sniping match, hiding on each side of the train tracks, especially when the train is going by. If you have not played Agent Under Fire, I thoroughly recommend you check it out. Agent Under Fire was and still is one of my most favorite Christmas memories, and it continues to be so as I carry on playing it with my sons. Now I want you to tell me, what are some of your most magical and amazing Christmas memories? What are your favorite games to play during Christmas time? Do you have a strange association of stealth with Christmas like I do? Or is there anything else you associate with Christmas time that's special and unique to you? Now I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, and I wish you all an absolutely amazing Christmas. Stay safe and enjoy yourselves. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters who help make these videos possible, including Hilazing Retro Gaming and Jack Mawson. If you want to show your support for Chronik Spartan games, then you can head on over to chronicspartan.com and check out our indie games. You can become a Chronik Spartan patron at patreon.com, or you can kick off your shoes and relax your socks with some Chronik Spartan merch from tpublic.com. All links are in the description below. But the simplest and easiest way to show your support is to just hit that subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in.